I'll never forget the night my husband's boss rang our doorbell while my husband was miles away. I thought he was just dropping off some papers. But by the time he left, I wasn't the same woman. What began as an awkward, unexpected visit in my quiet living room became a moment that shook everything I thought I knew about loyalty, loneliness, and what it means to feel seen as a woman again. If you're watching this, imagine this. You've been married for decades. You've played every role: wife, mother, caretaker. And suddenly someone looks at you like you're still the center of the room. That's what happened to me with Sebastian, my husband's boss. I didn't plan it. I didn't think it was even possible. But that evening, while my husband was away, one conversation, one look, and one gentle touch changed the way I saw myself. Before I tell you everything that happened, I want to know something from you. Tell me in the comments. Which city are you watching from? Are you in New York sipping coffee late at night? A small town in Texas? Somewhere in Florida with the TV on low so no one hears? Let me know. Because tonight it's just you and me, and I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone else. My name is Taylor. I'm 49 years old and I've been married to my husband Michael for almost 25 years. When this happened, he'd been traveling more than usual. Business trips, conferences, urgent meetings that always seemed to land on weekends or holidays. I used to joke that I should start charging the airline's rent because he spent more time in the sky than in our living room. It wasn't always like that. When we first married, we couldn't get enough of each other. Holding hands in grocery stores, staying up too late talking about everything and nothing. But life piles up. Bills, kids, aging parents, deadlines. Somewhere along the way we stopped looking at each other and started looking past each other. That week the house felt especially empty. Our daughter had already moved out, and Michael had flown out early Monday morning for a 3-day trip with his boss, Sebastian. I didn't know Sebastian well. I'd seen him at company dinners, tall, neatly dressed, polite. He had a calm presence, the kind that made people lower their voices without realizing it. Always kind to me, always respectful but distant. He was my husband's boss, not my friend. Or so I thought. The night everything changed. It was a heavy Wednesday evening, the sky gray and restless, thunder rolling like a warning. I was still in house clothes, soft leggings, a loose sweater, hair pulled back, makeup washed off as soon as the sun went down. No reason to keep up appearances for an empty house. I just reheated some leftover pasta and poured myself a glass of red wine when my phone buzzed. Flight delayed. Might be stuck overnight. I'll call later. Michael. No, miss you. No. How are you holding up? Just logistics. Practical. Distant. I took a slow sip of wine, letting disappointment settle in my chest like it always did. I turned on the TV for background noise and sat down at the dining table, fork in hand, when the doorbell rang. I jumped. We don't get visitors at night. When I opened the door, I did not expect to see him. Sebastian. I blinked. He stood on the porch, the light casting a halo over his shoulders. His collar was slightly open, his tie loosened, rain clinging to his hair. He looked tired, less polished, more human. Hi, Taylor, he said with a small, apologetic smile. Sorry to drop by unannounced. Is this a bad time? No, not at all. Come in. Is everything okay? Where's Michael? They rerouted the flights, he said, stepping inside. Michael's stuck in Chicago overnight. I managed to get back on a different connection. He hesitated. I had some documents he wanted you to have, the refinance paperwork. Oh, yes. Come in. Suddenly I was very aware of the half-finished plate, the open wine bottle, the single glass on the table. Sorry for the mess, I said. I wasn't expecting company. It's not a mess, he said gently, looking around. It looks lived in. That's a good thing. I felt my cheeks warm. Can I get you something? Water. Wine. He paused only a moment. Wine would be nice. But only if you're having some. Strange, I thought, standing in my kitchen pouring a glass of wine for my husband's boss while my husband was away. Strange but not wrong. Not yet. A question no one had asked me in years. We talked through the paperwork first. Interest rates, signatures, dates. When the conversation ran out, he didn't stand to leave. Instead, he leaned back, holding his wine, and looked at me in a way that made me feel visible. How are you doing, Taylor? He asked. A simple question. But the way he asked it, slowly, like he genuinely wanted to know, caught me off guard. I'm fine, I said automatically. Then softer, I'm managing. Managing usually means not fine, he said quietly. I looked down at my hands. It's everything. The house. Our daughter moving out. Michael always traveling. Some days I feel like I'm just here. Like a piece of furniture. I hadn't meant to say that out loud. But he didn't laugh. He didn't dismiss it. He just listened. My ex-wife used to say something similar, he admitted. Before we divorced. I didn't know you were divorced. I don't advertise it, he said with a tight jaw. We stopped talking before we even realized it. There was something like regret in his voice. Something familiar. Storm candles and truths we didn't mean to share. Thunder rumbled closer. Rain began to pound against the windows. The lights flickered and then everything went dark. Well, I laughed. That's dramatic. Perfect setting for a confession, he said softly. I found some candles, struck a lighter, and soon the room glowed with warm light. The shadows danced across the walls. The atmosphere shifted, intimate, quiet, private. You look, he started then stopped. Different in this light. Softer. Younger. Flattery won't get you more wine. It's not flattery. It's the truth. And I get the sense you haven't heard it in a long time. My heart tightened. He was right. I don't know what to do with this, I whispered. With what? He asked gently. With feeling seen again. He didn't move, didn't push. He simply placed his hand on the table, palm up. A silent offering. I care about your husband, he said. And somewhere along the way I realized I care about you too. As a person. As a woman who deserves to be more than invisible. Something in me cracked. Slowly I let my hand rest in his. Not aggressively. Not in betrayal. Just in truth. His thumb brushed the back of my hand. Tender. Careful. Taylor, he whispered, we're standing on the edge of something that could change everything. I already regret the things I didn't do, I whispered. The line we crossed without touching. He moved to sit beside me, brushing a tear from my cheek with gentle fingers. This isn't about your husband, he murmured. This is about you, about being understood even if just for one night. When he asked, when was the last time you felt cherished? I felt something inside me shatter and soften all at once. Longer than I want to admit, I said. You shouldn't have to starve for affection in your own life. I leaned my head onto his shoulder. He hesitated, just for a heartbeat, and then relaxed into the moment with me. What are we doing? I whispered. We're being honest, he said. Maybe for the first time in a long time. Honesty, the most dangerous thing between two people who shouldn't feel what they feel. He touched my cheek, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. Tell me what you want, he said softly. I rested my fingers on his wrist, feeling his pulse. I want to feel something real again, I breathed. Something that reminds me I'm still alive. You are alive, he whispered. I wish you saw in yourself what I see in you. We hovered there, breath to breath, inches apart, caught between choices, caught between lives. In another life, he murmured, maybe this would be simpler. In another life, I echoed, maybe we would have met first. Finally, I pulled back just enough to think clearly. I don't want to regret this, I said. Then don't, he replied. Not everything meaningful fits inside a perfect box. He pressed my hand to his chest, letting me feel the steady rhythm of his heart. Whatever this night is, he said, let it be honest. Let it be gentle. We didn't cross the final line that night. But emotionally we crossed something far deeper. The goodbye I can still feel. When the candles burned low and he finally stood to leave, he paused in the doorway. Thank you, he said quietly, for letting me see the real you. My throat tightened. Thank you for reminding me she still exists. He nodded, stepped out into the cool night air and walked away down the rain-washed street. When I closed the door, I pressed my back against it and released a breath I didn't know I'd been holding for years. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring. I didn't know how this night would reshape everything. But one thing was certain. Something unforgettable happened in my quiet dining room while my husband was away. And nothing would ever feel quite the same again.